Dear Commissioner-elect, the European Network on Independent Living organized its conference this week. So I dare to say that my question is timely. I would like to know if the Commission plans to include measures in the European Disability Strategy for 2020-2030 to improve access to the labour market for disabled persons, including measures to promote social inclusion and social enterprises, accessible recruitment procedures, accessible transport from and to the workplace, career development and training, and finally, obviously accessible workplaces.
I think we have adopted recently now the Accessibility Act, which is a progress and which helps disabled persons also in their working life. But it's very clear that our employment policies have to be much more focused on what we could call vulnerable populations. And when we look at the figures, we really see that people with disability are those who have the most difficulties, or are among those who have the most difficulties on the labor market. First, because very often they have not the skills. And why don't they have the skills? Because our school systems already are not very much in favor, very often, of disabled persons. So they have not the occasion to get the skills and the education because our school systems are not geared to their needs, specific needs. So we have to make sure also in that sector that there is no discrimination, because no discrimination is one of our fundamental principles. Second, we have to make sure that disabled persons can indeed get exactly the same opportunities, exactly the same chances on the labor market. And therefore, we have to dedicate more means, more resources out of also of the ESF into policies which include all categories of persons who have greater difficulties on the labor market. And disabled persons are among them. So I think this is really an objective for our inclusive society we are really striving for. And I would really like to make out of this subject one of our big objectives, one of our big aims of the next years, to give the opportunity to everybody, including also the people with disability. And I must say, new technologies could help us. New technologies are the right way, but then we have to support people in getting the right skills, the right digital skills, and I'm optimistic that we can at least reduce sharply the gaps which still exist.
Follow-up question.
Do you think the corporate social responsibility could be a suitable tool to stimulate employers to employ disabled workers, which incentivizing measures for employers to freely engage to this process would you propose? And thank you very, very much for your answerings.
I'm a believer in social responsibility, but at the same time, I do not expect everything. So you have also to get some rules.